Okay. So jumping right into graduation requirements. Every single year that your students in high school, you can expect them to take an English, math, and in most cases, science as well. So each of those subjects require 4 units for graduation. And then with social studies, some of you might be in world geography or AP Human. Those are considered electives because your graduation requirements aren't going to start until next year, sophomore year, with American government and economics. And then moving on, you'll take US history and world history. At some point, to meet graduation requirements, your student's going to have to fit in a half unit of health and then another half unit of personal fitness. It doesn't matter when they take these 2 classes, just as long as they fit it in somewhere along the way. And then we have electives. There are 2 categories of electives. We have career tech, modern language, and fine arts, and you can take those in any combination as long as you get 3. And then everything else that doesn't specifically meet one of the graduation requirements I just talked about will go into a general elective. And every student needs to have at least 4 general electives. So for a total of 7 electives, 23 is the magic number for graduation. And if you'll note, each student takes 6 courses and earns 6 credits each year. So that's actually 24 units, which means there's lots of room for your student to move around and find some classes that he or she's really interested in. So in addition to graduation requirements, we also have promotion requirements. In order for a student to be considered a 10th grader, he or she will need to have earned a total of 5 credits. Within those 5 credits, we will need to have 1 each in English, math, and science. And then to move over to junior year, it basically doubles. So it's 10 total credits, 2 credits each in English, math, and science. And remember, they're in 6 classes, so most students are going to be earning 6 credits each year. And then for senior status, it is a total of 16 credits. So we've talked about graduation requirements, we've talked about how to get promoted, and now let's talk about some of the things that are really kind of starting to matter right now. So from the moment, I would normally say you stepped into the building in August, but it would be the moment you signed on to CTLS in August, GPA started counting. And so it's calculated throughout the time you are in school. And as you move into the college admissions process, your senior year, that's really the first thing that colleges are going to look at. Many colleges will also take into account rigor, which is how challenging your classes were. And our advice is we don't want you to add rigor to your classes, to your classwork, just for the sake of adding rigor, because we want you to take the classes that you're going to enjoy, that you feel strong in, and not overwhelm yourself with rigorous classes that you're not really interested in. So as you're planning out your 4-year plan, you want to consider making sure that you have time for balance. So as you're sitting there with parents and students, you want to consider the things that are going on outside of school. How did this year go? How was the coursework for you? Were you getting enough sleep? And are you having time to put in some meaningful extracurricular activities? So you want to not make sure that you're overwhelming yourself, but you also don't want to underestimate what you can do. So it's really just trying to find that balance. And that's why this 4-year plan should help. So as we're moving on through GPA, because GPA counts now, many of you might be interested in the Hope Scholarship once you graduate, and that's for any public university in the state of Georgia. And the Hope Scholarship requires a 3.0 GPA. The GPA that Hope uses is different from the GPA that we calculate that's on your transcript at Walton. So Hope calculates a completely different GPA, and they strip away the electives and really just focus in on the core classes. They don't add weight to any honors courses, and then AP and dual enrollment courses are only going to receive half a extra quality point. The Hope Scholarship covers a good portion of tuition, about 80% of just tuition. That's not including housing, books, or fees. As you're thinking about the Hope Scholarship, you also need to be thinking about what courses you want to take so you meet their rigor requirements. So that doesn't mean that you have to take a bunch of AP and honors classes to meet the Hope rigor requirement. You need to have 4 classes, and some of the examples that meet that requirement are Algebra 2, Chemistry, Physics, any world language that's level 2 or higher. For the full list, you have that link there on Georgia Futures. And like I said, this PowerPoint is available. All the links are live, so you can just jump right in and look at that as you're doing your 4-year plan to make sure you're meeting those requirements. And finally, if you haven't created a Georgia Futures account, then it now is a great time to do that. It's www.gafutures.org. And we upload your transcript twice a year, at the end of first semester and then at the end of the school year. So you can look and see what your first semester Hope GPA is right now. And you can check it periodically as you go through high school to keep tabs on it. You're never declared eligible for the Hope Scholarship until you graduate. So it is going to keep accumulating until graduation. A couple of other Hope offerings is the Zell Miller Scholarship. It's full tuition, again, not housing, books, or fees, but it's full tuition at a public Georgia college. The requirements for that are a 3.7 GPA, and then they have testing requirements. It's a 1200 on the SAT or a 26 on the ACT. One of my favorite things that Hope offers is called the Hope Grant, and we love to refer to it as one of the best kept secrets in Georgia. And what the Hope Grant is it is specifically for students who are seeking a 2-year or technical certificate, and there's no minimum GPA required, and it covers a pretty significant portion of your tuition at a 2-year school. Okay, so also your social security number will need to be on file, and we can help you with that if you're unsure. But as we move through school, we will continue to give you more information about college admissions and Hope and all of that fun stuff. Now, speaking of fun stuff, we're going to dive right into our 4-year plan. The first step is to go to the Walton High School Counseling website. It's just www.waltonhighcounseling.com. I believe Ms. Alpert will put the link in the chat so you can click right there. At the top of the page, you'll see a tab that says Freshman Advisement. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get there, and I will change my screen out and I'll pull up the 4-year plan so we can all work together. This is what it looks like. And as you're going through, just remember, this is a great thing. You don't have to sit down and do everything while I'm talking. But of course, if you want to, feel free. We just think it's a good thing for you to sit down, parents and guardians, to complete this together. We will work subject by subject. And please just remember, this is a plan. We are not setting anything into stone at this moment. So I'm giving you just a couple minutes to get to the website. Walton High School Counseling. And here is the Freshman Advisement tab. If you scroll down, you'll see a link for the individual graduation plan. That's what we want you to open and download. And then you should have it sitting right in front of you. And I think I'll give you guys just a few more seconds to pull up the plan, and then I will dive in. A couple of other things that might be helpful as we're going through this to have is the academic planning guide. And so Ms. Alpert will put a link to that. It's on the main Walton website as well. And then there's also under registration on the Walton website, a list of electives, because sometimes with all of the electives we offer, it can get a little overwhelming trying to figure out, do I meet the requirements to take this one? What's this? And so we have a list of electives that are available for the class of 2024 and 2023. So you can look ahead and see what will be available your junior year and your senior year as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I am going to go through this plan as if I am a student and just kind of walk through and fill it out. So if you look here, we have the subject over on the left and how many courses are required to meet to meet graduation requirements. So for English, remember English, math, and science are 4. And I know right now that I'm
Miss Watford, would you reshare your screen, please?
Oh, yes. Let's try again. Sorry about that. All right, am I good? Okay, all right. So here we are. So I know that right now I'm sitting in a 9th Lit class, and so I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And I also know that I have been recommended to take World Lit my sophomore year. If I go over here and use the drop-down box, I see the available courses. I don't know how world literature is going to go next year, but I know that maybe for me, I'm not a strong writer. And so maybe English is where I want to just kind of stay on level. And so for my plan, I'm going to choose American literature. And then looking over here to my senior year and planning out, I have options of British literature, dramatic writing, honors, or AP. Again, writing is not something that I really enjoy a lot. And so I'm just going to stick with British literature, but just know there are other options your senior year. Now, math is something that maybe I'm feeling a little bit stronger in. And I know that I already brought over an Algebra 1 credit from 8th grade. And right now I'm sitting in honors geometry. And you can see that there are all the different options that you could possibly be taking at this year. And again, let's go back. I'm sitting in honors geometry. And so for my sophomore year, I know I've been recommended for honors algebra 2. So I'm going to plug that in. Now, here, thinking about what potentially my options are for my junior year, I can look in my academic planning guide, and within those guides and also on the PowerPoint is some flow charts. And I'm not going to flip back and forth because I don't want it to be super confusing, but just know that those are available for you. So from honors algebra 2, I've looked at the flow chart and I see that if I do well in that class, I'll be eligible to take accelerated pre-calculus my junior year. And then even though I have 4 math, the requirement for graduation is 4, I know that my counselor has recommended that I take a math class my senior year. So I'm going to go ahead and plan on that too. And the next class in the sequence there would be AP Calculus. So again, it's a little intimidating. I'm going to be taking AP Calculus my senior year, but we'll just wait and see how everything kind of falls together, because again, this is just a plan. Now, scrolling down from science, again, I'm a math and science person, and I know that I had a physical science credit that I took when I was in 8th grade. So I'm going to add that in there. And right now, I am sitting in honors biology. So I know I need to have 4 credits, and I definitely need to have a chemistry course. So, and I also know that I've been recommended for honors chemistry. So I'm going to add that there. Now that leaves me a little bit of room to take some classes that might be really interesting to me, because I've met my requirements for physical science, for biology, and chemistry. So I look at the drop-down menu and I see there are a lot of options. I think I'm going to maybe plan to take AP Environmental Science. I'll check with my science teacher, my June, what am I on? Yeah, my sophomore year, to see if that's what he or she recommends. And then, you know, looking here, there's even more options my senior year. So I'll look at the planning guide and read some course descriptions, but maybe just for today, I'm going to consider taking honors human anatomy. Moving on to social studies. I am currently taking world geography. So I can just type that in. And I know that I have been recommended to take American government. And then you should have another space here to add in economics, because for both, for social studies sophomore year, there's a half credit required for American government and a half credit for econ. So each are a
Sorry, Ms. Wofford, I thought it was updated. So I will work on updating that right now.
It might be, because I think I am working from a different file.
Okay.
So it will be updated, everybody, if it's not currently. Now, looking at my options for social studies my junior year, I see I have to take US history. So I'll plug that in. And then moving over here to my senior year, I see that world history is something that's required of me. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in.
Ms. Wofford, I just would like to say it is updated correctly on the website. So there will be there'll be two drop downs for you to choose from, one for American, one for econ.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ms. Alpert. Now we're moving on to our electives. So remember, there are 2 categories of electives. There's the world language, fine art, career tech, and then there's the general electives. When I was in 8th grade, I took Spanish 1, and I'm currently taking Spanish 2. So I'm going to type that in. I have decided not to take any more world language, so I'm not taking a world language my sophomore year. Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 are all I wanted to take. But if you are thinking about taking courses more in the Spanish 3, Spanish 4, or Latin, or French, or Chinese, then you can just type those into the box there. Now looking here at health and personal fitness, I know I need both of those. I need to fit them in at some point in time while I'm in high school. I'm currently taking health, so I'll type that in there. And then maybe junior year, I'll take personal fitness. And finally, here are the general electives. So I need to go back and look and see what my elective situation is. So I see here that with my category that 3 are required, that I need to have another world language, fine art, or career tech course. So I can look again at the academic planning guide and the list of electives that are on the Walton website and see kind of what sounds interesting. I'm very interested in business, so I am going to add that. So here I have my 1, 2, 3 of my world language, fine art, or career tech. See, it can be in any combination. So it doesn't have to be all a language or all career tech. You can do any combination as long as you get that magic number of 3. And because I'm so interested in business, I think I might want to continue on that pathway. And so after I take business, I can take other courses. One of those would be, and I'm just filling this in because it's a plan, financial literacy. And after that, I can take banking and investing. To meet some of those elective requirements. So if I'm looking through here, and pathways, by the way, are not a requirement. They are just a way to go deeper into an area. So there are several pathways. You can look at them in the academic planning guide. And then also, if you have any questions about them, please reach out to your student's counselor. So I've put some classes in here, and I want to go back and make sure that I'm meeting all of these graduation requirements. So I need 4 English. I've got 4 here. With math, I actually have 5. So something that might help me is I might just put +1 there, because anything extra that doesn't specifically meet the graduation requirements falls into the electives category. And here I also have 5 sciences. Social studies, I've got my 3 requirements. So American government and economics, US history, world history. I also have world geography. So there's an extra there. I have my 3 Spanish 1, Spanish 2, and then my career tech course. I have my health and personal fitness. And looking here, I have a +1, a +1, and a +1. So there's 3 electives already, plus these down here in general electives to equal 24, which will be more than enough for graduation. Right now, Miss Clary and Miss Alpert, are you seeing any questions that might need to be addressed?
People have been just asking some questions, just really good general questions in chat, and I believe that it pretty much is going to everybody.
Okay.
And so a couple that I did get, the academic planning guide, there is not any physical copies that were printed off this year. So it is all online. You can find it at the Walton website, the waltonhigh.org website, or you can also find it on the counseling website as well. We have a link to it there. Plus it's in the chat. So that's just one I got from a couple individual people. And so I just wanted to address that.
Okay, thank you. So we are coming to the end of, wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the 4-year plan and going over. I just wanted to remind you of a couple of things, and then we'll open it up for Q&A if any questions have arisen. So first, I really want to stress this is not registration. We have this as a tool for you just to start thinking and planning out the courses that you want to take, and so you fully understand what's required for graduation. And just remember that we were choosing core classes. I was choosing my lit classes and my math classes and science classes. Just remember, placement is actually determined by teacher recommendation. And so something that I always recommend to my students is, if they are in an on-level class and aspire to be in an honors class, to start that conversation with your teacher from the beginning, so they can understand what the teacher expects to see from a student if they're moving them from an on-level to an honors class. So it's really important to start those conversations early, and just understand that placement is done by teacher recommendation. Your electives, on the other hand, for the most part, unless there's a requirement, are available for you to choose as you like to take them and as they're open. So I can open this up now for any other questions that there might be.
We just got a really good question that someone private messaged me, but I think this will be something for the whole group. Does 8th grade physical science cover the physics credit? And the answer is yes, it does. So you need to have either physics or physical science, and it does not matter if you take physical science in 8th grade. And then something that wasn't asked for me, but something that I've gotten several questions of from parents this year is, does it matter where you take physical science or Spanish 1? Does it, like, do you have to have those credits be taken at the same school? Ms. Wofford, I don't know if you got any questions like that. Ms. Claire, I don't know if you got questions like that, but I got some panicked emails from students and parents. Oh my gosh, do I need to take another year of Spanish because I took Spanish 1 at Dickerson or something? And the answer is no, it does not matter where you take the Spanish or where you take physical science, because we posted on your transcript, it is part of your high school record then.
Yes, and also on the topic of physical science and physics, going back to the Hope rigor requirements, physical science does not count toward rigor, but physics does. And so many students will have a physical science credit and a credit for physics. And so it's just a great way to get some of those rigor classes out of the way freshman year.
And Ms. Watford, you said referencing the GA Futures is always a good spot to find out all that information, because it's updated through always through GA Futures, correct?
Correct. Yes. And so the GPA and course information that show on your transcript, specifically the Walton/Cobb County GPA, is separate from your Hope GPA. So the only way to see the GPA as Hope has calculated or Georgia Futures has calculated is to log into the Georgia Futures. And so Ms. Alpert, did you happen to put a link in the chat for Georgia Futures? I can type it in too.
I did not. I put a link in for how to check GPA and transcripts, including Hope GPA. And that is part that, like, on our part of the website, there is the GA Futures link there, but we can specifically put that in on the website as well.
Yes, I just threw it out there in case anybody wanted to check right now.
Another question, and I'm just typing this, but I'm going to address this to everybody, is a parent wanted to know, how can we see a transcript? And unfortunately, there's no way to see a transcript online. You can't see it through parent view, student view, anything like that. So typically at the beginning of each semester, students will receive a transcript, and then, like, the first 2 days of school, they take it to their teachers to make sure, and the teachers double check to make sure that they're in the correct classes. And then obviously you guys can keep those. So this year, for students who were virtual, we had transcripts in the front office to be picked up. If you still would like a transcript, I believe you have to order them now. Ms. Wofford, is that correct? Off the top of my head, I believe you have to order those transcripts. And I think it's cheap.
I think you're only ordering transcripts if you need it for college or scholarships. Okay. Everything else was already printed for this semester. So,
we, once grades are final for the second semester, there are grade reports and transcripts that will be mailed to each family. And so you just keep hold of that. And as your student is getting older and considering getting a driver's license, I know insurance companies require those. And so if you get that transcript and you keep it in a safe place, you'll always have it. But we do send them out to families a couple of times a year.
Another message is about competitive universities, if they want to see physics and 3 years of foreign language. Is this true? Every university has their own requirements. Certainly, if you're looking at highly competitive schools, the more rigor that there is in the coursework on the transcript, the more competitive that can make you. But again, every university is different with their requirements. So I can't really answer that question because it's just different among different universities, if that makes sense. Let's see. Is there one place to go to access all the relevant links? I can make that into a PDF and I will put that up on our website where the freshman advisement is. I will do that as soon as we are done and just have a list of all the relevant links so that it'll just be a one-stop shop. So I'll put where it's going to be on our website. Right now, it's just the freshman advisement one. It's not going to be up just yet. Once this is over, I will put it up.
And then I see if I'm taking Spanish for 3 years in the world language category, will chorus count in the general electives category? And yes, that is correct. So we take the first classes that meet those graduation requirements. And once you've met those requirements, everything else goes into general electives. And that's really just a way that we ensure that all of the requirements have been met.
Someone did ask about why it's difficult sometimes to change out of like rigor courses. And I can say that the waiver process, at least for this semester, that there was almost 2 months for students to do a waiver process to either move up a level or to move down a level. And the waiver process or the waivers did close on May 1st. And so at this time, you can't waive up or down a class level for next year, just due because the administration who works on the master schedule, they have 2,700 students and they have to get the accurate numbers in, and they work with the department heads to really figure out, okay, how many classes of this section do we need? How many classes of this section do we need and whatnot? So if there's a major concern, I would suggest you contact your child's current teacher to see what your child's teacher recommended them for, because there may be a way at that time. But really at this point, though, the waiver process is over, at least for this semester, at least for the upcoming semester. So in the springtime, students will have the opportunity to do a waiver for the spring of 2022. So I don't know if that answers the question or not, but it all has to do with just planning out that master schedule and how difficult it is to do it for 2,700 students. Another question that just came to me was, do you need a minimum score on AP exams to get credit for your GPA from the AP course at Walton? No. So you get you finish the school year in May. The AP class that you take is posted on your transcript. You get 1 quality point added into your weighted GPA automatically when you take that AP course, as long as you take the AP exam. Then sometime in July, typically it's like late June, early July is when the AP scores come in. And so if you don't score very high in the AP score, it just means that you probably won't earn college credit for that AP class, but it won't affect your GPA at all. Somebody asked a question about math. How many credits do the accelerated algebra 1/geometry A and accelerated 2/geometry B classes receive? So those classes, if your child took accelerated algebra 1/geometry part A in middle school, that's 1 credit. Okay, even though it's like taking 1.5 years of math in 1 school year, it still is just 1 credit. Same thing with the next course with the accelerated algebra 2, the accelerated geometry B/algebra 2. Again, it's taking 1.5 years of math, but you still get 1 credit. So if you complete those 2 courses, you have 2 math credits. So you still would need 2 more for graduation purposes, but it would mean that you potentially could then move into pre-calculus then as a sophomore. Let's see. Okay, somebody asked, what is a weighted AP score? So, with the GPAs, everybody has on their Walton transcript a weighted GPA and an unweighted GPA. So an unweighted GPA takes every course that is taken in high school. Remember, middle school courses, while they're listed on the transcript, are not calculated into the actual weighted GPA or unweighted GPA, but the credits are still there. So everything starting from 9th grade on that you take at Walton is calculated into your GPA. So an unweighted GPA means that everything is the same, regardless if it's honors, if it's AP, if it's accelerated, if it's on level. An A is worth 4 points, a B is worth 3 points, a C is worth 2 points, et cetera, et cetera. So the highest unweighted GPA a student can get is a 4.0. A weighted GPA, on the other hand, takes rigor into consideration. So if your child takes an honors class like honors 9th grade lit, or next year they go into honors US history, or sorry, honors US government, any honors class that your child takes, they get a half a quality point added into their GPA. So if they were to earn an A in honors 9th grade lit this semester, that GPA for the weighted will go as a 4.5. A B would be a 3.5. A C would be a 2.5. Okay, et cetera, it goes on down. Okay, so again, a half a quality point for all of the honors classes. Then for AP classes, students earn 1 quality point. So if they take AP government next year, then that means that they would get 5 points if they earn an A in the class, 4 points for a B in the class, et cetera, et cetera. And we do that, many schools do that because it just, it rewards the students who are going for the rigor courses and who are challenging themselves. Colleges sometimes look at it. A lot of times colleges take those away and they have their own way of calculating. In addition, remember that the HOPE GPA does something completely different. So the HOPE GPA, they do their own calculations, and I put up the link to that, and Mrs. Cleary wrote that you should go on Georgia Futures to see how the HOPE GPA does that.
And so looking ahead, each year your student will have at least 1 classroom lesson presented by a counselor just to talk about these issues and really put focus on the things that are coming up. And so just know junior year, in the fall of your student's junior year, we will have junior advisement. And so hopefully things will be more normal. And we will have everybody back in the building, and you'll have an opportunity to meet one-on-one with a counselor to talk about really a plan moving forward and answer some of those really burning college admission questions as it becomes more relevant the older they get and the more they progress through high school. So we are here. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to your student's counselor. We will continue to offer, like I said, support through the classrooms, as well as anytime that you have concerns or things that you need to talk about, and the same with parents. And so if there isn't anything else, I think we will probably end for this evening. I hope that you all enjoyed this and that you're staying dry. And one final thing I almost forgot to mention. So because this year has been so weird. We next year are going, there's many of you who haven't even stepped foot in Walton, and you're going to be sophomores. And I just want you all to know that we are well aware of this, and there will be an orientation where before school starts later this summer, where you can come into the building and tour it and walk through and see where all the classrooms are, and learn kind of the ins and outs of face-to-face instruction. So those dates will be announced. We don't have them confirmed yet, but those dates will be announced later this summer. So make sure that you're signed up for the PTSA e-blast. That's the best way to get the information. And we really look forward to seeing you all in